Hey,
right. Welcome back.
Sorry guys. So it looks like YouTube dropped completely off, which does happen quite regularly. It's probably due to the okay internet connection here in
Yeah,
New
it's not
Zealand.
great.
It's not absolutely perfect, but sometimes it does happen. But hopefully you guys are gonna find this a new session, and we'll be able to spend the remaining half an hour that we have with you guys answering all your questions. So again, the way that works, if you guys are new here and you just saw something new popping in your feed, we are the two writers behind NZPocketGuide.com, which is the largest travel guide to New Zealand. And every single week, we give you 1 hour at 8 a.m. New Zealand time on Sunday to ask us all the questions you want about traveling in New Zealand. The way you ask them is very simple. You just pop into the live chat and just type it. And if you watch a replay of this, you can put it in the comments of the video, and we'll print them and answer your questions as as it comes.
Yeah.
All right, so while you guys are popping back in, I'm just going to go through the comments that we missed just on the previous question, so in the previous video.
Previous feed, yeah.
So we had...
so we were just talking about car rentals.
Leo, yeah. So Leo was saying that not all car rentals accept travel by ferry from north to south, and then we were going in depth into the car relocation. So basically, the reason why they say they don't allow it is probably because there is an extra fee to go from one point to another point. And if you drop your car off at the latter point, that let's say on the South Island, then they have to pay someone to drive the car back all the way up. And therefore, they charge you a fee, which is a few $100s for that. But a good way to avoid that is?
Is to take a car rental that has no one-way fees, which there are actually quite a few camper van and car rental companies which do have that. So you don't need to worry about those extra hundreds of dollars you need to pay if you are if you're picking your car up in Auckland, say, and dropping it off in Queenstown. But I do remember someone coming onto the feed before and saying that they saw there was an extra charge for just taking the ferry. But just bear in mind that there are so many car and camper van rental companies in New Zealand which don't necessarily charge you for the ferry. Like if it says that there's a ferry charge, then that's actually usually quite uncommon in New Zealand. And maybe you should look at other companies if you have found a company that is charging you just to take the ferry.
And a good way to avoid paying one of those fees is to go on NZPocketGuide.com, which is our website. And when you check out all our articles about car and camper van rentals, we actually list all of the companies that don't have a one-way fee. So that allow you to save hundreds of dollars on your car rental. So that's kind of like one of the thorough amount of information that we always have on the site. All right, what else did we miss out? Kshitij was saying, is everything open in New Zealand? The hotel, activities, and spa? That's a really good question. Most of it is open right now. Like most of the hotel and activities and spa all open. Some of them they decided to kind of hibernate, so they just kind of close down the business for a few months until international travelers are coming back. But the vast majority of things to do are open, and Kiwis, which are New Zealanders, are taking full advantage of that because since there is no international tourists right now in the country, they actually all dropped off their prices quite a lot. And so there is kind of a frenzy around New Zealand right now and traveling the country and experiencing your own country. So there is a lot to do right here. And also, that also allows us as New Zealanders to support our own economy. Tourism is the number one contributors to the New Zealand economy. And for this reason, when you go and you support your local businesses, when you go do a whitewater rafting, or when you go to your local spa, or when you take a 2-day escape to the nearby town, to stay in a hotel and experience the place, that's a great way to support your economy. So so definitely a lot is open right now.
Yeah.
Extreme Talota says, Morena, guys, how are you? Really well, thank you very much. How are you doing, man? So Morena means good morning in Maori as well. Christine was saying aloha. She's from Hawaii. She's coming quite often. She said, aloha, do you think New Zealand will allow people who provide a proof of negative COVID-19 to travel to New Zealand without doing a quarantine? They just started that here in Hawaii. That has been something that was brought up by the opposition party here in New Zealand. So we don't know just yet. Another thing is that there is an election in New Zealand in September as well. So there's all that thrown into the mix. So all the policies and everything that they're currently talking about may all be scrapped by September. So one thing is for sure, that's not happening by September. That's almost evident. And then maybe in kind of October, there is going to be some new kind of ideas and policies. But so far, we're not sure about that, Christine. I don't think that's happening. Adil also was asking, what does the word sound in the names of places like Milford Sound and Doubtful Sound refer to?
I know this one.
All right, go ahead.
So in places where, well, basically some of the sort of early European explorers of New Zealand were from England. And the United Kingdom. And in the UK, there are various different landmarks around which in the UK we call sounds, and they look quite similar to fjords. So when these early explorers came to New Zealand and started discovering the fjords, like Milford Sound and Doubtful Sound, they thought the landscape looked so similar to the sounds in the UK that they just called them sounds because that's what they sort of recognized and felt familiar. So that name has just stuck since then.
Yeah. And I think a sound, and don't quote me on that, but I think the definition is like if there is a bay which is hidden from sight from at sea. So if you're at sea and you see just like mountains, but if you were to sail, you can go around the mountain and then you discover a big kind of area of water. And I think that's why it's called a sound.
Yeah, there's different formations. For instance, a fjord is formed by glacier activity. So glaciers pushing out into the ocean. Whereas a sound has a different way of being formed, which I'm not even going to explain because I don't actually know. But I think it might be just sort of like lakes being formed on the coast or something like that. Yeah.
So Extreme Talota says he's doing well as well. So that's awesome. We have Aju that says it's 12 a.m. in Dubai. How are you doing, mate?
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for popping in.
Early once again.
Angus DJ say, hello. How are you doing, Angus? Aju says, wait, why is the show is over? No. There was just a bit of an issue with the live stream. So that's why we just had to restart it. It happens from time to time. Anthony says he's back. How are you doing, Anthony? Kiwi Plays says, hello, Kia Orange Fanao. So it's a word play on the Kia Ora, which means welcome. And Fanao means Fanao. Fanao. I can't pronounce it.
It's like your extended family. Yeah.
Ronak says, hello there, guys. Wasn't able to catch up the last 2 live sessions. I started my online lecture, NZICPA.
Oh,
congrats. Awesome. It's cool. It's so amazing nowadays that you can like study almost everything online. How good is it? Especially in times like now, it's so amazing. So yeah, awesome. So so Ronak, maybe at some point you'll make it to New Zealand at some point. Shiti is which is the best place in New Zealand for a tattoo and how much does it cost? So first time I'm going to address the cost of a tattoo. It's almost impossible to evaluate the cost of a tattoo and just tell you, hey, it's $10 for a tattoo, because it will depend on what your design is, how much work it will take, and also the artist that you're going to pay. You have a lot of different artists. The guy that, for example, did our tattoo for New Zealand's biggest gap year. You can watch this video. It's the last one. So the guy that did our tattoo for New Zealand's biggest gap year, he was like a obviously not famous, but he was well known in the tattoo world and everything. So is much more expensive than some other people, right? So it really depends on that. So tattoos definitely, they range between like $100 to quite a few thousand.
It depends also, like you say, like how big the tattoo as well. So it could be like $3,000 or something.
We have a friend that did like a whole sleeve, with kind of Maori design and everything like that, and this cost him about $8,000, for example. So but we know some people that just got some tattoos for like $99.
Yeah, and we got some tattoos, like Rom says on the video, and our tattoos are probably about that big. Robin's is maybe a little bit bigger, but quite thin. And the value of those was over $1,000. Prices are quite hard to determine.
Yeah. So it depends basically on the time needed for the artist for both designing it, doing the still, like the stuff they put
the stencils,
and all that. So but good places for tattoos. There are some really awesome places in Rotorua. There are really, really nice places in Oakland. The one that we got in Oakland is on K Road. So it's called Auto Tahi Tattoos. And we're really happy with them. That was really nice. And there is a good place, I think, is it in Hokitika down on the West Coast? That is quite famous.
I'm not quite sure, but I know there's one in the Coromandel. That's quite good as well. Yeah.
They got to some award in the Coromandel actually. Those
Yeah. So we do have an article on nzpocketguide.com. If you just type in tattoo in the search of nzpocketguide.com, we have an article giving some of our recommendations around the country of well-established tattoo parlors and good places to get a tattoo in New Zealand. So check
definitely
that out.
the back of a bus of some random dudes is not a good place. So definitely go to a well-established place which is certified and will use clean needles and all that. All right, that was a good question, Kshitij. I like that. We don't get these kind of questions too often. Steve K. Oh, he did our research. I like that. Thank you, Steve. So Steve came back to the definition of the word sounds that I think Kshitij was asking. So a sound is a large, according to Wikipedia and to Steve reading Wikipedia. So, there's a lot of layers right here. So according to Steve reading Wikipedia, he says a sound is a large sea or ocean inlet, deeper and
than a bite and wider than a fjord.
Deeper than a bite and wide. What's a bite?
Something similar to a fjord and something similar
less
to
deep than a fjord.
Sound.
Less deep than a sound. Okay, cool.
One of those things that's similar.
I never heard the word bite. Obviously, I heard fjord and sound and all that. I never heard bites.
Not many bites in New Zealand.
No,
I don't think.
But so it's a type of fjord. It's similar to a fjord.
So basically, the sounds in New Zealand are all misnamed places. Like basically, the explorers didn't know what they were seeing and called it something that was actually inaccurate. So that's just all the places, all the fjords or sounds, the places called sounds are actually just mistakes.
All right, Clay Bryan says, good morning. Good morning, Clay. How are you doing?
Hey.
Thank you for popping in another day. He said, a bit windy up your way yesterday. I assume you are in Auckland. No, we're not based in Auckland. And so we didn't witness the wind. But we're in North Island, but not in Auckland. But thanks for thinking of us when you saw the news. And we are okay. Don't worry. Okay, so Himashu says, what's the best city for clubbing? I will say it would be Queenstown in summer, just because this is where all the youngsters are coming in, and this is this is the backpacking kind of area where there's a lot of that. Or Auckland, kind of all year round.
I would also say Dunedin because it's a very popular student city, and where there's students, there's clubs. So Dunedin would be a good place to go as well.
But we do have some of the best nightclubs, and we have full guides on all of that. So if you go on nzpocketguide.com and in the search bar, just type nightclub, and you'll have articles with which places we recommend and all that. Okay, Extreme Talota says, have a good day, guys. Catch you guys next week. Thank you very much for popping in. Bye-bye. Taxati. I like this question, by the way. Taxati.
Taxati. Go for that.
I don't know. I'm struggling with that. Taxati 1956 says, if you had to choose an extra day spent in the Catlins, taking waterfalls and ocean area hikes, or driving around the North Island East Cape, which would you pick?
That's I suppose they are two sort of side trips that you could stick on in your trip. So
I think you'd say whatever you want, but I'll pick my personal choice. So it's a very personal question you're asking right here, right? But I will pick the Catlins just because I really, really, really like wildlife. And I think that the wildlife offered by the Catlins, which you get the opportunity to see penguins, maybe, you probably will see massive sea lions. And you probably saw that if you watched our New Zealand's Biggest Gap Year video, you'd see us seeing massive sea lion fighting and everything. It's fantastic to watch. So those two things are quite more unique than what you will see on the East Cape. Let's say you get a stingray in East Cape. Anyway, but for the size and the scale and the epicness of the wildlife, I think I will go for the Catlins. Also, what I really like in the Catlins, really, you just drive 10 minutes something to see. Drive 10 minutes something to see. And I personally don't like driving, so I like when my drive is it's cut a lot, and I get to see a lot of things. So I don't mind driving the whole day if I get to see 12 different things. So I think I will pick the Catlins personally. Which one would you pick?
So what I would, just out of my personal interest, I would also pick the Catlins because I love waterfalls and I love wildlife and seals, sea lions and penguins, all that good stuff. But the East Cape is it's a really good road trip to do, and you will actually get a really different experience to the Catlins in that the sort of main things that See, there are a lot to do with the Maori culture. You get to pass through small communities where there's like beautiful sort of Maori carved churches, particularly in a place called Tiki Tiki. For a little bit of a wildlife fix, there is Tatapuri Dive, or Dive Tatapuri, which is known for its stingray tours. So you can go out onto a shallow reef at low tide with this tour and feed huge stingrays, which is really amazing. But the East Cape's also perhaps a bit better for sort of white sandy beaches, maybe go to some different vineyards and stuff if you want to do wine tasting near Gisborne. So I think they're the sort of main differences from the Catlins. So yeah, again, it kind of really depends on what you just prefer. If you want to see more waterfalls and wildlife, go for the Catlins. If you want a bit of culture, sandy beaches, and perhaps a bit of wine tasting, go for the East Cape.
But she asked if you had to choose, so your choice is?
Well, my choice is the Catlins.
Okay, so we both like for once. This is a rare occurrence. Taxati, I just want to point that out. You are witnessing something very rare. We agreed on where we should be going.
Yeah.
Usually we have to compromise, and every time we decide to just go one place somewhere, we end up going for a week in 2 or 3 different places. That's usually what happens. So cool. But yeah, so there are videos on both of those places, multiple videos on both of those places on this channel. So if you want to check them out, and we also have full guides on both of those places on nzpocketguide.com. So you can check this one out. Thank you all of you guys for popping back in, by the way, to the new session. I know it was a big of a rocky start with the connection cutting, but 15 of you guys are here, so that's awesome. By the way, if you actually think that this video is quite useful and all our questions is quite useful, just hit the like button. It's a great way to show YouTube that this video is actually useful and they should recommend our channel and also our videos to other people. So it's kind of a free way for you guys to say thank you for all our hard work. So it's always really, really awesome when you guys just click that like button. It's like, yeah. Awesome. Thank you to the 2 people that just clicked. Yeah, there's 2 people that just clicked. So thank you guys. You're awesome. What else do we have? Oh, Taxtati says, I loved your gap year video. Yeah, so we did something, if you guys don't know, we did something called New Zealand's Biggest Gap Year, in which we challenged ourselves to do 365 activities all around New Zealand in 365 days. So that was an absolutely epic year. And we did video every single day. So you guys can check it out on the channel. And that's us looking younger, looking fresher, less tired. And despite the fact it was crazy, we looked less tired.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of activities. And what we try to do, they're not like pretty videos, but what we try to do is to really give you a feel for what is that activity. So the videos are probably, all of them are a little too long, but at least you know exactly what you're paying for or what you're getting into when you decide on an activity or on a walk. So we feel like it's kind of a good way for you to, base and do your decision rather than kind of promo style video. So thank you, Taxtati, for liking those videos. That's awesome. Did you watch all of them? You probably didn't. There is like 400 of them because some days we did more than one activity.
We did part 1, part 2. So yeah.
Naveen says, hi both, you look great. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
We are extremely tired today, so I'll be honest, looking great is it's
a struggle, but
yeah.
we do our best.
Himanshu says, thanks guys, have a good day. We love your video. Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, are you planning a trip to New Zealand soon? And did you have to delay it just yet, or are you already in New Zealand, kind of traveling already? Mohammed says, nice to see you. Nice to see you too. Taxtati says, thanks, you're very welcome. shout some more questions to us. We're here for that. So don't feel like you just have to watch our previous video. You can always pop in and always ask us questions. We're here to help.
Yeah.
Navin says, are there any bushwalking around Auckland? Are they? There's a lot of them. Do you want to pick maybe a couple you like?
Yeah, so a really good place for bushwalking is in South Auckland, the Hanua Ranges. The main sort of attraction of the Hanua Ranges is a big waterfall there. And there's a really small sort of bushwalks around that area. But the whole of the Hanua Ranges actually has quite a lot of walks that you can do in New Zealand forests. So that's definitely a really good one to check out in the south of Auckland.
There's also Shakespeare
Shakespeare Park.
Shakespeare Park, yes, which is a great area. It's a little bit north of Oakland. There is a multiple little track around there, and you can see a ton of really beautiful birds. You can also hop on a boat from literally Auckland Central. You can hop on a ferry, and most of the ferry trips are pretty cheap. You can go to an island called Tiritiri Matangi, which is a beautiful bird sanctuary in which you have several little bush track where you can see a massive amount of birds. You can go to Rangitoto Island, in which you're going to do a bush walk, and you can walk on massive lava field, go on top of the crater of the volcano, see all the other islands and the Auckland skyline. There is a ton of bushwalk all around Auckland. And in fact, if you go on nzpocketguide.com and you type Auckland walk, you will, on the search bar, you type Auckland walk on nzpocketguide.com, or you type Auckland Walk NZ Pocket Guide on Google, you will find our list of I think it's 20 different walks to do in Auckland. There's really, really a lot of them, and we've done most of them, and they're really awesome. So yeah, bushwalking in New Zealand is available everywhere. There's probably
any region.
Is there any place that you can actually say, I actually know there's no bushwalking really close by?
No, I don't
think so. I actually do not think there is.
Yeah, I think every region has somewhere for bushwalking.
But we're talking hundreds. Really, really, really a lot. So
another place in Auckland is the Waitakere Ranges.
Yeah.
There actually there has been a few of the tracks there that have been closed down recently because they're trying to protect some of the native trees called kauri trees, which there's a disease that spreads around those trees in New Zealand. So they've closed off some of those tracks, but there's still loads of different tracks in the bush that are still open in the Waitakere Ranges. So that's another really good place and a popular place to go check out as well. Do I need to spell Waitakere perhaps?
I can type it you can type it while I'm reading the next question.
Yeah.
So Valeria says, hi, we are traveling to Nelson this week. Just want to know what your opinion is to live there compared to Auckland. Nelson is pretty cool. So the advantages of Nelson compared to, I'm going to give you the pros and the cons, right? It's going to be a bit easier, right? And from the top of my head, first pro, the weather, way better in Nelson. Super high amount of sun hours a year. Actually, I think it's the highest amount of sun hours a year.
It is famous for having the most sunshine hours in New Zealand.
Every year. Yeah. So yeah, ton of sun. So much better weather. That's always nice. It's a smaller town, so it's much easier to get around. You have way less traffic. You probably have no traffic whatsoever. Yeah. Not as a foreigner, the Auckland traffic is really not that bad. But as a New Zealander, the Auckland traffic is the worst in the country.
Hell on earth.
So, it's all about a matter of perspective. You know what I mean? Like when I did have to drive around San Francisco and then I drive around Auckland and people are complaining about the traffic, I'm like, that's really,
you don't know traffic.
There is no traffic in Auckland. It's a very good day at midnight in San Francisco, the peak traffic in Auckland. But, for New Zealand as a perspective, there's more traffic. Another good thing about Nelson is that it's kind of related to traffic, but you access epic kind of awesome things to do way faster. In Auckland, you got to get out of the city and then, do all that, except if you take the ferry. But, you have access to Abel Tasman National Park and all that. Way easier. It is much cheaper to live in Nelson. Your rent is going to be way cheaper than what you find in Auckland. And the cost of life in general is going to be a little bit cheaper as well. And also the competition for job is going to be way lower. So there is much less workers in Nelson than there are in Auckland. So for each position, there's going to be much less people applying. So let's say, and that's the sake of example, right? Let's say you have to apply for, you apply for a job in Auckland and there is about, let's say 11 or 10 people applying for that same job. In Nelson, you probably will have only 3 other people. So, you get 1 shot out of 3 to get that job compared to 1 shot out of 10. That's better odds. So I think that's also a really good pro for Nelson. Yeah. If there is any cons for Nelson, I'll say that, there is less people. So it's more of a, if Valeria, you're a little bit more of a city girl, there's definitely a different vibe. There's less shopping. There's less cafe. There's still shopping in cafes and everything, but there's less on offer. There's almost, I don't think there's any clubs or anything to go out.
I think there's just bars and
there's
stuff.
There's some bars, but party style, I can't, on the top of my head, I can't come up with something. So there is a little bit less of that. But to be fair, I would think that Nelson is a bit more like what New Zealand is all about compared to Auckland, which is just a sprawling city that grew a little too big for its own good. It's just my opinion, right?
Yeah, and also the good thing about Nelson is that you are surrounded by national parks as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, some of the places that are sort of deemed some of the most beautiful places in New Zealand, there's the Nelson Lakes National Park nearby, there's the Abel Tasman National Park nearby. And yeah, I think that's the only national parks, but they're really close by. You get to see the Southern Alps, you know, a short drive away. You can even go skiing nearby, or maybe about an hour away. So yeah, there's a ton to do in Nelson that in terms of outdoors and recreation, which is kind of what most people kind of like about New Zealand, I'd say there's more opportunities for that surrounding Nelson than there is in Auckland.
Finally, the last pro for Nelson, which is definitely something to absolutely take in consideration when choosing where to live, is that Nelson has the Geographical Center of New Zealand.
Yes.
And obviously, you know, you walk up that little hill and, you know, there is a cross on the floor and a little bit of a monument. And that is definitely worth it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, joke aside, so obviously talking about Auckland, it's a big city. There's all the advantages of the big cities and all that. So I feel like since you're going from Auckland to Nelson, right? I personally feel, Valeria, that you're asking us more what's our take in Nelson. So that's why we talked a little bit more about Nelson. And if I was to choose personally between living in Auckland and living in Nelson, I will absolutely choose Nelson every time. What would you choose?
Well, I don't want to agree with you again, but I would also choose Nelson.
She's agreeing with me twice in one. Like, this has to be marked, guys. Just mark it. It is the 28th of June, 2020, and Laura agreed with me twice in one live session. So yeah, I hope that helped you, Valeria. Tell us if you have any follow-up questions on that. We're really happy to cover that. Another good way to kind of get a vibe from the town, maybe you can check out on our channel, there's a little search bar and you can search just Nelson and find out more about, with all our videos about Nelson. We do like a lot of activities and you can see and get a feel for the place. And also on www.nzpocketguide.com, which is, the link is in the description of this video. The first link in the description of this video. We have a ton of guides and even like city accommodation guide of Nelson and all that to help you kind of understand a little bit more the town. I think we've been quite thorough.
Yes.
Bailong just waves a lot. So hey, Bailong, how are you doing? I'm waving as well. Norman says, I want to ask you about seasonal work visa. Yeah, what would you like to ask? Just so you know, if it's about how to apply for visa and anything like that, you will have to contact Immigration New Zealand directly, as we do not have the right legally to give you any immigration advice. But anything surrounding that, we're happy to help. You can definitely find a job in New Zealand with a seasonal work visa, that's for sure. Himanshu says, I'm a student in Hastings, New Zealand. Oh yeah, I knew you were somewhere in New Zealand. And says, what was the website that you told for checking the clubs? So it's NZDT.com. So it's our website. So you can find the link in the description of this video. You just click on here, and then in the search bar, you just type nightclub or bars or party or anything like that in the search bar. Yeah. Sorry about that. And you'll be able to find that out. So it's nzpocketguide.com. The best and easiest way is just to go in the description of the video and just click on the link. Yeah. I'm lazy, I don't type. And yes, that's the largest travel guide to New Zealand, and that's written by Laura and I. So here you go. Squid Car Notice say, I'm from New Zealand and I want to say thank you for talking about my hometown, Nelson. Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, Valeria, you can ask Squid Car some questions about Nelson if you want. So Squibka, Valeria is considering between Auckland and Nelson. So yeah, and a lot of heart. I always like when there is a lot of emojis. You know, like look, Valeria, Squibka is already putting a lot of heart emojis into the lovely town to go and live in. I mean,
that's what Nelson's all about, spreading the love.
And the beautiful Abel Tasman National Park. It's epic kayaking. How often do you go to the Abel Tasman National Park, Squibka? Have you done everything there is to do there? Like did you do the canyoning, the kayaking, all the hiking and all that? Did you do all that, or is it one of those cases where you don't explore your own backyard enough, and every time you think about taking a day off, you go like further away? Now we find that we do that quite a lot, and you end up be like, damn, I've been here for quite a while and I haven't even done this. But then like 2-hour drive, you've done everything there, so yeah, tell us what you've done around. Mohammed Radwan says, would you mind typing the name of the shops for buying clothes that you have answered last week? Yeah, no problem, Mohammed. I'm just going to type that for you.
Is that like the Torpedo 7 and
stuff? Yeah.
Do you
want to type Torpedo 7 in Kathmandu, my pack. But also you can find this one on nzpocketguide.com. So you go on nzpocketguide.com. The link is in the description below. And then on the site, you type like outdoor clothing or outdoor gear, and you'll find that in the search results. And we have all the article and we have all the link, and we tell you about all the stores. So you have a really good recap for you. So it's always a good way to, we talk a lot and sometimes fast, and I have a really strong accent in those videos. But everything we talk to you about, we have everything in written form, so you can just get back. Okay, I got the gist of it. I got like the main idea, and you go on the website and you have like you go in depth more into some places. Valeria says, thank you so much, guys. You're very welcome, Valeria. Good way to reward us is to hit the like button to say, hey, YouTube, that was a useful video. Also, it's free to do, so it's always quite handy. Matthew says, hey, guys, I'm from Oakland doing a report on the tourist attraction, and I used some of your information and credited you. Oh, thank you very much.
Cool, thanks.
If you want to send us an email and everything, we can chat about that if you want to. So you can find our email on the About page. Which
on the contact.
On the contact page or about or everything. Or there is a contact page on NZ Pocket Guide. So if you do want to chat, that'd be cool. But yes, we do sometimes get contacted by news. We did the project, like the TV show New Zealand Heralds, featuring us, like a lot of stuff and all that. So from time to time we do help talking about all the different awesome places and everything. And it's very nice to be credited, Matthew. That's quite rare that actually people do the credit. Usually we do the work and they just get a quick mention, that's it. But if you credit us with a nice little link, it's very much appreciated. Jacinth says, first, thank you very much for asking this question. Second, I cannot pronounce your last name, so I'm not going to try. Otherwise, that may be insulting. But he said, hey, guys, just came online to say hi. Hey, thank you very much. That's awesome. Thank you so much. And Lucas says, hi, is it hard to receive a sponsorship while being in New Zealand on a working holiday visa? Okay, not too hard, but we think that in a post-COVID-19 world, like a post-coronavirus world, where the whole economy has changed quite a lot of people have kind of lost their jobs, both in retail and in tourism and all that. I think it will be a little bit harder because there is a very strong push from the New Zealand government to make sure that if you have a job available, you hire a New Zealander first. And if you really, really, really cannot hire a New Zealander, then they will allow you to hire a foreigner instead. So I think that in the post-COVID-19 world, it will be way harder. It probably will stabilize again as it was before COVID-19, but it probably will take, for the economy to re-strengthen itself. It probably will take a few years, 5-6 years. So we used to say, it's kind of easy, if you're a good worker and your boss want to keep you and you do have skills that New Zealand needs. Yeah, it does work. There is a good, strong system that works for immigrating into New Zealand. But now, it has changed a lot.
Yeah,
so
now we're in uncertain times where it's hard to tell what.
I don't like to say that.
I
think
going
it's too
on.
generous. But yeah, it is. I feel like it's going to be a little bit harder, and I think we're going to see some quite dramatic changes. And we are currently doing a massive batch of updates on nzpocketguide.com on our travel guide to kind of reflect those changes. And I think that we're going to have quite a lot of updates to do throughout the next 5 years to make sure that we adapt to what the new market is. So I'm sorry, Lucas, it's not a straightforward answer. That usually we do like to give you all the information we do have on this one. My gut feeling is it won't be that easy. So come in New Zealand, do your working holiday. It's about a year, work and travel, do your fruit picking job and all those kind of jobs which are easy to get. And then take your experience back home and use that to get a better job back home. I don't think that it's going to be that easy. No. But it's just, again, this is purely my opinion right now. It's based on only what I'm kind of seeing happening. But obviously, when we do have concrete information, we'll tell, if it's kind of, there's not going to be any sponsorship visa available in New Zealand or anything like that. We'll obviously do a video and inform you guys about it. We'll obviously do an article on nzpocketguide.com for sure. But in the meantime, it's kind of like we just have to stick to kind of our gut feeling.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us for another one of our live session. It is 9 o'clock right now in New Zealand on Sunday, which means that it's the end of our live session. But we do that every single week, so don't fear. If you are missing this live session and you're just watching a replay of it, we will be back next week. And If you can't make it at 8 a.m. on Sunday, New Zealand time, and it's not the right time for you, you can also ask your questions in the comments of any of our videos, and we're super happy to answer them. Andy says, Sup New Zealand is the best. Thank you, Andy. That's awesome. And then Valeria says, bye, guys. Take care. Thank you very much, Valeria. In the meantime, Laura, do the times for next week.
So like Robin said, we do this live Q&A session every single Sunday at 8 a.m. New Zealand time. But around the world, in the UK and France, that's around 10 p.m. on a Saturday evening. In the US, that is 4 p.m. EST on a Saturday afternoon or 1 p.m. PST. In India, that's on a Sunday morning at 1:30 a.m. And in Australia, that is also on a Sunday morning at 6 a.m.
Nice one. Anthony says, be safe and have a nice day. Everybody be safe and have a nice day, and especially you, Anthony. Awesome. And Mohammed says, take care. Thank you very much, Mohammed, for popping in. That's awesome. And Andy says, his name is Aiden. And Lucas says, thanks. Have a good week. Greetings from Argentina. Greetings from Argentina. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, guys. It was awesome to have you on board. We'll see you next week.
Yeah. See you next week and stay safe.